Welcome back, foolish mortals, to the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast. I'm your host, Kristen, and you know me, if it's a Disney life, then I'm a happy wife. So this is our very last Oldie But Goodie episode. I can't even believe that I'm saying that. Very last one, which means the next episode we get, which hopefully will be next week, will be a brand new episode. I'm not going to throw any spoilers out there, but I think it might have Emily in it. I think. We'll see. So, like I said, very last Oldie But Goodie episode. Oldie But Goodie episode number 30, the last one. So at the beginning of the episode, I had said it had been a while since the last podcast episode, And just like it's been, a little while since the last episode here, with Oldie But Goodie episodes, June kind of got away from me with everything that we've had going on. Emily's end of year recital and last day of school and me volunteering for a lot of stuff, and things just kind of got away from me. But before the end of June, so I'm recording this at, it's the 29th as I'm recording. So this will come out, in the beginning of August. Oh my gosh, it's all getting away from me. It'll come out in the beginning of July. But I am recording this at the very end of June. So the month of June got away from me a bit. But in this Oldie But Goodie episode, I do talk about how it had been a while. I talk about 2023 because that's when I had recorded it, but this episode does talk about something that happened to us in 2022. 2022 was a milestone year. I turned 40 that year. Oh my gosh. I turned 40, and a part of that big celebration, because, when you turn 40, you should celebrate, make it big. So we celebrated by taking a family trip, and it was like a family trip we had never taken before. It was actually the last family trip that we took. Will has kind of grown out of going to Disney. He'd rather, go on fishing trips with his friends and stuff like that, which is cool. He does what he wants to do. I can't fault him for that. Emily and I still love going to Disney, so that's what we do. So yay, mommy-daughter trips. We still miss having him with us, though. We wish that he would come with us. Hopefully we can talk him into it sometime soon. But for now, it's just me and my Disney kid. But this episode, this Oldie But Goodie episode, does talk about our last family vacation, which was a celebration of my 40th year. And we did something we had never done before. We went on a land and sea trip. At the beginning of the episode, I talk about what that means for those of you who don't know. So definitely stay tuned for that. And this episode was supposed to be a two-parter. So it was both parts of the trip, the land and the sea part. This episode, I talk about the sea part. And it was something that I had never done before. So it was something that was brand new for me, going on a Disney cruise. I had never been on a Disney cruise. I'd only been on one cruise before that when I was 15, 16 years old. So this was really cool for me, going on my very first Disney cruise and getting to experience that. And besides all of that, we got to go on an amazing ship. And this was the latest ship at the time. If you know your Disney cruise ships, you know which one I'm talking about. So I talk about it in the podcast episode, so you'll have to listen for that. So yeah. So you'll have to sit back and enjoy this episode, this Oldie But Goodie episode of the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast, and hear me talk about, first time on a Disney cruise and this amazing ship that we were able to go on, which was so cool. I would go on it again and again and again. So sit back, relax, enjoy this last Oldie But Goodie episode, and I'll see you real soon with brand new, all new episodes of the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast. All right, I'll see you guys real soon.
Welcome, foolish mortals. There's no turning back now.
Welcome, foolish mortals. Okay. So I know that's how I usually start off every podcast, but I have to stop for a second. So I recently started listening to Dax Shepard's podcast, which I know, I'm late to the game. I had listened to it, sporadically, but now I'm an avid listener. And if you haven't listened to Armchair Expert, go listen to it. Dax is so funny. He's so great. I love Armchair Expert, so big shout out to them. Which is beside the point. But Dax Shepard opens up Armchair Expert every episode with welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm wondering if before I started this, I had heard Armchair Expert and that kind of stuck with me. And then I realized I was starting off my episodes like that. And I just went, oh no. So I don't want to jump on or steal something that another podcaster is doing. I don't want to be, a person that's like, oh, you're copying Dax. No, I would never do that. Love Dax, love his podcast. I'm a humongous fan of his wife, Kristen Bell, like absolutely love her. But I love his podcast, so I would never want to steal that from him. So I think I'm going to just start mine by just saying, welcome. Just one welcome. So sorry, Dax, if you hear this by some random chance, you hear my podcast, and you hear me saying, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm sorry for jumping on what you already do. So I'm just going to stick with one. So welcome, everybody. So welcome, foolish mortals, jungle cruisers, space rangers, and more. You're listening to the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast, the podcast where I talk about all things Disney, not just Disney parks, not just Disney travel, not just Disney merchandise or movies, but all things Disney. If it's Disney related, then you know I'm going to talk about it. And who am I? Well, if you've been listening for a while, you know the answer to that question. But if you're new, let me introduce myself. I am your host with the most, your ghost host, your skipper on this journey. I'm Kristen, the voice and mind behind the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast, the person behind the Disney Roadie Mom blog, YouTube, and social media. That's all on me. It's a one-person show. It's me. And if that is enough, I'm also a Disney travel agent. For those who didn't know, fun fact, I'm a Disney travel agent with the Let It Go Journeys agency. It's a great, I love being a Disney travel agent because as much as I love going to Disney and bringing all of that to life, I love doing that for other people as well. So working with Let It Go Journeys has let me do that for some friends and family. So I love doing that. So if you ever need a Disney travel agent, feel free to reach out. But beside the point, so if you know me, then you know if it's a Disney life, then I'm a happy wife. So how's everybody doing? It's been a long time since I did an episode. And I know I keep saying long time no talk. I'm going to start doing more episodes, but I'm definitely doing it. 2023 is going to be the year where I stick with it. It's not just going to be a hobby. I'm going to make the most of this podcast and more, which means more episodes, hopefully weekly, if not bi-weekly, and bringing my love of Disney to you guys. And hopefully if you already have a love of Disney, kind of instilling that love of Disney more, or hopefully if you don't have a love of Disney, bringing that love to you and you falling in love with Disney as much as I do. So if you're having a good week, I hope that this podcast brings even more joy. If you're not having a good week, hopefully hearing my excitement about Disney will, make your week that much better. So there we go. So like I said, long time no talk. It's been a busy time, I guess, for us. But yeah, so in 2023, like I said, I'm going to be bringing you guys more episodes. You'll be able to listen to those wherever you can listen to podcasts. Whether it is on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or iHeartRadio or I don't know, where does everybody listen to their podcasts? I mean, those are the ones that I usually listen to. I'm a big Apple and Spotify person. But wherever you listen to podcasts, you can listen to us. I also have my episodes up on YouTube as well. Most of them are just recordings. You don't get to see my face. Some of them you do. I'm going to try and get better with doing that, so you guys will get to actually see me as I'm recording. But as of right now, that's kind of slow moving. So we're going to get there, but it's just part of the process. You can find it. I have a YouTube channel for the podcast, but you can also find it through the Disney Roadie Mom YouTube channel, which is on the website, DisneyRoadieMom.com. You can go there and check it out. In between episodes, you'll be able to check out my blog, like I said, DisneyRoadieMom.com. And you can also follow along with me on social media. I try my best to post tons of content there. Hopefully it'll get better. So the blog, like I said, DisneyRoadieMom.com is Disney. Obviously, we know how to spell that. Disney, Roadie, RHODY, mom, MOM.com. On social media, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Disney Life Happy Wife Podcast, all one word, for both Instagram and Facebook. If you're on TikTok, I may get there. I don't know if the podcast will get there. I have my own personal one, but I don't know if the podcast will get there. And you can also follow along with me on through the Disney Roadie Mom social media as well. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I am there at Disney Roadie Mom. So DisneyRhodyMom. So you can follow me Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And like I said, I do have my own personal TikTok as well. It's at KristenLynn1130 on there. So feel free to check it out. So I devote a lot of the Disney Roadie Mom to Disney, not getting as much Rhode Island stuff as I would like. But I am focusing a lot on Disney. So there, I'm going to be posting a lot more to the podcast Instagram. So all good things. So now that we have all of that handled, I do want to throw a couple of shout outs out there. I had been starting to do shout outs. I think I was doing it at the end of my podcast, but I definitely want to start doing it at the top of the podcast before we get into all of the content. So today I want to start off with throwing a shout out to an awesome new Disney design-based company. You know I love my Disney gear. I love my Disney shirts, Disney bracelets, everything Disney. So I have stumbled upon this great shop. Their shop is through Etsy. They have shirts, accessories, mug toppers. They just started doing bracelets. So cool. You can even get a mystery bundle if you're feeling adventurous. And I know I definitely want to get one. And I just made my first purchase with them and got a new shirt. So I can't wait to post all about that. Their name is New Favorite Day. So you can find them on Instagram at new.favorite.day. They have a link through their bio there to their shop. You definitely won't be disappointed. If you just want to go through Etsy, you can find them at New Favorite Day. It's all one word, capital N, capital F, capital D. And when you go there, if you want to purchase something, purchase a shirt, a mug top, like any of that, you want to purchase it, do it and use discount code FAVORITE, FAVORITE 10, number 10. So favorite 10 to get a discount. There you go. You can even say, hey, my friend Kristen over at the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast, or Disney Roadie Mom, whichever one you want to say, she recommended you guys and I love your stuff and I'm pumped to get the stuff and get a discount. So there you go. So go over there, check out their stuff, grab some new stuff, new Disney gear, and use discount code FAVORITE10. So second shout out, and I think this might be my last one for today. Second shout out, one of my favorite Disney Insta accounts to follow is a fellow New Englander. Her name is Tenley. She's a Disney travel agent, just like me. Her Disney game is on point. For someone that lives in New England, like her game is on point. Like I can't even, there's so many things to describe. She's got the best Disney outfits. Her Disney bounding is amazing. Her content is out of this world. So if you're looking for someone to go follow on Instagram and check out their Disney content, who has like up-to-date content, has tips for traveling, if you want to check out some cool outfits, cool Disney bounding, definitely go check her out on Instagram. It is at traveling, TraveLing, with Tenley, Tenley. Go check her out. You will definitely not be disappointed. She puts out some great Disney content, so definitely go check her out. Okay. And let's just jump into the show, okay? So this past year, I guess, because it's now 2023. So in 2022 was a milestone year for me. I turned 40. I know. Oh my gosh, I just said it. So I turned 40, the big 40, and part of, I guess we'll say, the celebration was a big family trip to Disney. But it wasn't just to Disney. It also checked something off on my bucket list. It was, drumroll please, a land and sea trip. Now, for those that don't work in the Disney travel business, you may not have heard the term land and sea. But when you think Disney and you hear the words land and sea, it's probably kind of easy to figure out what that means. So the trip is part Disney World trip and part Disney cruise trip. And that is what happened. I was able to check off my bucket list, land and sea trip, and I was also able to check off a Disney cruise trip. It was my very first Disney cruise. I was so excited about it. And there's a lot to unpack with all of that. So this episode, so the land and sea episode, is also going to be a two-parter. So I'll talk about the sea part and I'll talk about the land part. And there's just so much to talk about. So let's get right into it. So at the end of October, we went on our big land and sea trip. So I'm going to start off this episode the way that we started off the vacation. We did the sea part first. We went on a 4-night Disney cruise to the Bahamas. So we're going to kick it off right there. 4 amazing nights aboard an amazing Disney cruise, and not just any ship. Now, Disney has 4 ships, and this past year, they had the inaugural sailing of the brand new Disney Wish, the brand new cruise ship to their fleet, and we were lucky enough to be a part of their inaugural sailing year. I was so excited. I had heard great things, and this ship had only started sailing, I believe, in May. And I think it was May. It could have been later, actually. And I was so pumped that we got to go on the Wish. I could not believe it. Beautiful, beautiful boat. We'll get into that. But not only was it a cruise to the Bahamas on the Disney Wish, it was also a Halloween cruise. How cool is that? Halloween cruise. So the Halloween on the high seas, 4-night Bahamian cruise on the Disney Wish. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. I mean, I guess it could if it was like 7 nights. But I mean, come on, it was amazing. So all of the normal wonderment that you would expect from a Disney cruise, and then they added Halloween on top of it. I mean, you walk into the ship and there's everything is decorated for fall, decorated for Halloween. You very much get that kind of vibe, plus the amazement of the Wish itself, which is also beautiful and also stunning by itself. So Emily was able to meet characters or see characters not only in their cruise attire, but also in Halloween costumes, and there was a pirate night, and she got to see them in pirate costume too. I mean, how cool is that? So the first day was a bit of a jumble for us. We arrived in Orlando in the morning. You know that we like to take the first flight out. And we headed right over to get on the bus that took us over to the Disney cruise. Now, for all of you who loved the Magical Express as much as I did, this was definitely reminiscent of that, having a Disney bus take us somewhere. It was wonderful. So we drove about 40 minutes from MCO, Orlando Airport, to Port Canaveral. Emily was just busting to get off the bus and get onto the ship. And the theme of, if you have never seen the Disney cruise buses, the whole theme of it is, a Disney cruise, and they look like they're getting a ship ready and all of that. And on the side of the bus that we were sitting on, Donald Duck and his nephews were right there. I have a great picture of Emily posing, and you can see the window, and one of his nephews is like right above her, and she absolutely loved that. So of course, we were sitting right there. She loves Donald Duck and all things Donald, so all things Donald Duck, I should say. And so of course we had to sit over there. So when we pulled up to Port Canaveral, we could not believe our eyes, especially Emily. We had never seen a boat that big before. So my husband, Will, is an avid boatsman and fisherman. He has his own fishing boat, and Emily is even his first mate. So nautical vehicles aren't anything new to us. We've seen fishing boats, we've seen sailboats, we've seen kayaks, we've seen paddle boats, we've seen, all these different kinds of boats. But to see something that big was just breathtaking. Holy smokes, is the Wish just a sight. It's just a sight to see. And Emily looked at it, and she looked at me. She's like, Mommy, she's like, that's a big boat. And I'm like, it is a big boat. I was like, it's not just a boat, it's a ship. And I will apologize right now if throughout this episode I call the Wish a boat. It's not a boat, it's a ship. So if I'm calling it a boat, I apologize. But we're used to boats. We're not used to ships. So I was able to actually get some pictures of Emily when we first got there, which I will post on the podcast Instagram, of her standing there, arms stretched out, and the Wish is behind her. It's so cool. And we were stuck in a holding pattern at the port due to not having checked in as early as possible. So I would highly recommend that you check in as early as possible so you can be in one of the earliest groups to get onto the ship. So you can get onto the ship as early as possible. But once they called our number, whoo boy, we were in line and we were on the ship as fast as humanly possible. And I will say that at the port, you go through all of the security measures. They check passports, they check, all of that identification and everything. You go through security, they check your bags, all of that. And it is kind of, I don't know the right word to say, intense. Just kind of sitting there and waiting in anticipation. And it's just a big room. There's lots of people. And if I could make a suggestion to Disney, I would have like snack vendors there, have like one on each side, a place for people to get food and drinks while they're waiting. So I would recommend that. That would be my recommendation. Probably my only recommendation, because we were pretty comfortable while we were waiting, but that would have been cool. So once we were on the ship, we walked around the majority of the afternoon. We had to go through security protocols, watching when you get there, they have you find out where your designated lifeboat area is. So you have to go there, you have to watch a video on what would happen if you needed to evacuate the ship. If you need to evacuate the ship and get on a lifeboat. So they have you go there, see where it is, kind of find your route to get there. So we did all of that, which for someone who tends to get a little nervous with stuff like that, I found that the way that Disney did it was really great. They made you feel comfortable. They didn't, there was no anxiety about it. So I was very comfortable after watching the video and figuring out where all of that was. So after we did all of that, I prayed right then and there that we never had to use the lifeboats. As beautiful as they were, I prayed that we never had to use them, which we did not. So after that, we were walking around the boat. We were walking around and we stumbled across a character strolling around with a handler. Now, he was probably headed somewhere. We'll say that. But he was just walking around. And Emily saw him and was beside herself. Now, if you know Emily, you obviously know who I'm talking about. It was Donald Duck. The first character we saw was Donald Duck. I mean, how perfect is that? So we were able to go up to him, and I was able to get pictures of Emily with Donald and take a video. And I have a great video. It's on my Instagram, the Disney Roadie Mom Instagram. Great video of her giving him a big hug. And you can see the moment where I say to Donald that he's Emily's favorite character. He's just so taken aback by it and so happy, and gives Emily another hug. It's very cute. And she was so excited that we got to see him first. You know, right on the boat. She was in pajamas still, but did not care that I was taking pictures of her in her pajamas, because she was seeing Donald, and that's all that mattered to her. So after we saw Donald, after we said goodbye, we walked around the ship more to see where the dinner restaurants were. So on the Wish, which is the only cruise ship that I can vouch for, there are 3 different restaurants that you have for dinner. And you have kind of a rotating schedule for dinner. Because we were 4 nights, there was one restaurant that we got twice. But it's kind of like a rotating schedule. You have a chance to eat each one, at least on, you know, a 3-night, 4-night, each one once. So as far as I know, they do that on every Disney cruise ship. I mean, that just seems like it would be the thing to do. And as far as I know, you can go to like the quick service counters as well. We never did that, so I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like you could. So the three dinner restaurants that are on the Wish are Worlds of Marvel, Arendelle, and 1923. And one of the cool things is that your server, I want to call him a drink server. I'm probably wrong. He's kind of like more of your main server's assistant, really. And then like kind of the head of all the groups of servers, with the whole group that eat at that time, in that space, I guess we'll say, they all move with you. So like we had the same server, you know, at World of Marvel, at Arendelle, and 1923. We had the same one every time. And it was great. I absolutely loved that. Our server was amazing. He was so wonderful. Like he had games for the kids. He was entertaining. He knew us all by name, literally after the first night. He knew exactly who we were. He even got M to open up, and M's kind of shy around new people, but he got M to open up to him. And I think he said that was his goal for our cruise, was to get Emily to talk and open up to him. So he was wonderful. I'm sure all the servers are wonderful, but we loved ours. So back to the dinner restaurants. So Worlds of Marvel is a restaurant based on the world of Marvel superheroes. So you're led to a table, and we were at I want to say an 8-person table. We sat at every dinner. We sat with another party, so our dinner buddies, I guess as we'll call them. And it was a family of 5, a mom, a dad, 2 little boys, and a grandmother. And they were awesome. So we're from Rhode Island. They were from Montana. So it was really cool to talk to them and get to know them a bit. The dad and Will had tons in common, both hunters. And so they sat next to each other, I'm pretty sure, every meal and chit-chatted. So that was nice. So when you go to Worlds of Marvel, you're led to your table. And on the table is this kind of like cylinder. It's right in the middle. There, you can tell there are buttons on it. And immediately what you want to do is start touching it and start figuring out what it is. Along the walls, are screens where information is being pictures and information and clips and all of that about all of the different Marvel superheroes. So that was really cool. I love Marvel. I am one of those people where, and this is going to be like a huge conflict, where if you were like Marvel or Star Wars, I'm a Marvel person all the way. I love Star Wars. I think Star Wars is awesome, but I would pick Marvel every time, hands down. So as a Marvel fan, this was super cool for me. And then Ant-Man and Wasp come on the screen, which is really great. And I love Ant-Man. He's definitely, in my top 5. I think he's awesome. Which if you've seen the Ant-Man movies, you know that Ant-Man is played by Paul Rudd, and Paul Rudd's just an amazing actor. So there's no wonder that he's a favorite. So they come on and they're talking about this mission that they have. And it goes out through dinner that you're on this mission. And then you find out that these cylinders are interactive and you have to like push buttons and whatever at the exact time when they tell you. And it was great. It was very interactive for the kids and they loved it. The food was delicious. I'll say it's the most, I guess, American cuisine of all of them. I guess they all kind of were. I mean, I can't really say that I had food that I liked every night and it was great. But before we left the meal, after we were done, Ant-Man and Wasp actually came out and walked through the restaurant. It was really cool to see them. We've never met superheroes before because Emily's very much a princess girl and a Disney character girl. She's not really a superhero girl. So it was cool. It was really cool to see them. They did not come over to our table, but we could watch them and see them and wave to them and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And one of the things that I noticed at all of the restaurants is that they all have their own signature ice cream sundae. And I think out of all of them, the Marvel one was my favorite because their signature ice cream sundae has a donut on top. Does it get any better than a donut on top of an ice cream sundae? I think not. So next on the list of restaurants, dinner restaurants on the wish is Arendelle. Okay, I just got finished saying that Emily is a princess girl. Oh boy, was she excited for this. So if you don't know what Arendelle is, you must be living under a rock. So Arendelle is a restaurant straight out of Frozen. In Frozen, the kingdom that Elsa and then Anna are queen of is Arendelle. So walking along the hallway down to the restaurant, inside the restaurant and everything, if you pay attention to all of the artwork that's lining the walls and everything, you can see that your meal, that this feast is a celebration. And it's supposed to be a celebration of the engagement of Anna and Kristoff. So we walk down the hallway. You can see things about Anna and Elsa and about Frozen. We walk down there and we're led to our table. And there is a show that goes on during your meal that's in the center of the restaurant. So we walked by the stage and we got to see where that was. We got to our table, and while we dined, a trio of musicians came on. And oh my gosh, were they talented. Like, words can't even express how talented these three people were. And so they start singing songs and playing songs for us. And then all of a sudden, Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, Olaf, and Oaken come out onto the stage. Like, Anna and Elsa would be cool enough, but having Kristoff and Olaf and Oaken, this is the only place we've ever seen Oaken. Like, the fact that they all came out there was perfect. So my princess loving daughter loved that she got to see all of them. I thought it was so cool that Oaken was there. Like I said, it's the only place we've ever seen Oaken. My favorite part of all of it was when they sang Let It Go. So like the musicians are singing and everything, but then it's Kristoff and Oaken center stage singing Let It Go. And I was able to get this clip of the two of them singing. They're walking around the middle of the stage. And then at the end, Oaken must have had like glitter or something or confetti in his hand, and he tosses it up and it looks like snow, really. It was so great. I absolutely loved it. It was so cool. And then once they were done performing, they came around. Not the musicians. The musicians continued to play pretty much through the whole meal. But Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, and Oaken, Olaf went to the back. But the others came and they walked around the restaurant, and we got to meet each of them. It was so cool. I think Emily was a little taken aback by Oaken, but it was so cool to see all of the others. Anna and Kristoff kind of missed us. They went to the table on the other side and never turned back around to come see us. So that was a little disappointing, but it was so cool to see Elsa and to meet Oaken. Like, so cool. And after those two cool experiences, it was great for the third restaurant, 1923, to go there. And it was like a history of Disney. Now, if you're not familiar, right now, Disneyland is celebrating the 100th year of Disney. Disney was invented, Walt Disney, Roy Disney, but the Disney company started in 1923. So we are currently within their 100-year celebration. Disneyland has already kicked that off there because Disneyland is the first park. And while Disney World is just wrapping up their anniversary celebration right now, I'm hoping that once that is wrapped up, they will start the 100th year celebration there. I don't exactly know if that's going to happen. I've tried to get that info, but I haven't been able to find it. But it was really 1923 on the Wish was really cool, especially for a Disney lover, to see all of the history. And there are two sides to the restaurant. There's the Walt side and the Roy side. And it's cool to see all of the different things there. There's pictures and images and stuff like that from all of the different from a bunch of the different movies. I shouldn't say all because there's so many, but a bunch of the different ones. And you get to see the way that they were originally sketched and how different things come together. And there's history and it feels like you're just immersed in the Disney history. I know we got to see images from Frozen and from Moana. So Emily loved that. It was great. Now, the food was wonderful in all of them. If I had to pick a favorite, I don't know if I could. I mean, maybe it would be Worlds of Marvel for that Sunday, because that stuck with me. That Sunday stuck with me. But it could be Arendelle for the entertainment. I mean, that was just incredible. I don't know. I can't really pick. It just doesn't get much better than that. Like, those restaurants were just absolutely amazing. And something that we found out on the very last night, if there isn't something on the menu that you like, then your waiter can make something else happen. We have a very picky eater. Emily is like the supreme picky eater. And my husband and I were very concerned about going on the cruise and what she would eat and if they would have what she would eat and what do we do. And we tried getting her into other things. Like, she doesn't like pizza with cheese. And depending on the type of pizza, even if we take the cheese off, she may not even eat the pizza. If she doesn't like the taste of the sauce or the taste of the dough or something like that. She doesn't like macaroni and cheese besides Kraft usually. Sometimes she'll eat it, but sometimes she won't. She doesn't even like cheeseburgers. So I was super nervous about this going ahead of time. Before we left for the cruise, we did get her to eat a hamburger. So burger, bun, and some ketchup. That's it. So we got her to do that, and because I had, done some research ahead of time and found that there were burgers on every single kid's menu. So most of the nights, that's what she ate. She ate a burger, which she wasn't exactly thrilled with, but she did good. She we were happy with what she did. I think the first night they had chicken fingers. So that was good at World of Marvel. And then on the last night, I asked our waiter if there was any possible way that he could get Emily chicken fingers instead. And he looked at me, he said, of course. And I was shocked. I was like, you can do that? And he said, I could get you anything that they have on this boat. Ship, I'm sorry. I could get you anything they have on the ship. If that's what she wants, I'll get it. And I was floored. I was like, oh my gosh. Secretly, I'm glad I didn't find that out till the last night because she was eating other things that she wouldn't normally eat. But I was so glad to have that information. So besides the 3 restaurants that they have for dinner, there's also like 5 or 6 quick service restaurants that have different kinds of cuisine. So up on, I guess we'll call it the main outside area where they have the big screens for movies and they have pools and chairs and stuff like that. They also have around the outer side of that is their quick service restaurants. So they had, everything that you could want. They have pizza and pasta. I think pasta. Barbecue, burgers and hot dogs, burritos and tacos. So many choices. Emily, of course, always got her chicken tenders. My husband got a bunch of different things when we ate there. And I favored Donald's Cantina. So Donald Duck was the spokesperson for the Mexican food, the Cantina. I was able to get a carnitas burrito bowl just the way I like it whenever I want it. Whenever it was open, I could go get one. My tummy was very happy. And one of the stations that they had there is actually an ice cream stand or a soft serve stand. And they had 6 different kinds that you could get. You could even get twists of some of them. And you could go up and get an ice cream cone whenever you want. There are people manning them. I know back in the day they used to have it, so you could just go up and get it yourself. But they have people manning it now, so you just have to ask for it. But whenever you want, ice cream, right then and there. They also have soda stations and coffee places and coffee stations. And you could just walk up, grab a cup, and grab it. They recommend using a different cup every time just because, germs and all that kind of stuff. So it was awesome. There's also another restaurant that was open for breakfast. I believe it was open for dinner. I could be wrong. And that was Marceline, which is named after the town where Walt Disney was born. How cool is that? And the theming on the inside was, from different movies. And it was cool to see something and know which Disney movie it was from. Like we could see things from Snow White, and it was just kind of like not memorabilia, but it was like little things. Like they would have things that would remind you of Maurice's workshop from Beauty and the Beast, and different things that would remind you of Snow White. And it was really cool to see that. So we had breakfast there every day, and we absolutely loved it. It was the biggest buffet I have ever seen. Different stations with different kinds of food, different kinds of breakfast food. Emily was able to get Mickey waffles. We could have different pastries, even cereal, tons of fruit. It was great. So my picky eater got anything she wanted. She never went hungry, which this mom is super exciting. So I think... So besides the restaurants that we've talked about, there are also several lounges and restaurants that you can't take Emily to. It's adult only. So I never got a chance to see those. Maybe one day I'll go on a Disney cruise with, just my husband or with some girlfriends, and we'll be able to check that out. But I wasn't able to do that. Will got the chance one night when Emily and I were seeing a show to check out the Star Wars themed lounge and said it was really cool. So if you're like Star Wars, they've got a cool lounge for you. I don't believe kids are supposed to go in there, but I don't know. Maybe someday I'll check it out. There are also like little specialty coffee shops on either end of the boat on one floor as well. I got I think it was a toasted marshmallow latte once. It was pretty cool. There's also a candy and ice cream shop. And I didn't get anything from there. Emily did. She loved it. It's Inside Out themed, so that was really cool. Besides all the places to eat on this boat, which are aplenty, there's just so much more to the Disney Wish. There's tons of stores if you want to go shopping. Even if you just want to go browsing, like we walked into some of the stores and just looked at everything and just kind of checked things out. And one of their, I guess we'll say, main stores, I did get a Disney Wish sweatshirt, a Halloween on the High Seas mug, which was, if you know me, I do a Disney mug as one of my souvenirs every time I go to Disney. So this was my souvenir mug. And Emily was able to get a big Pua stuffy. She saw it and was like, oh, so had to get that for her. One of the highlights, at least for Emily, on the cruise was the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. For those who don't know, the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is a boutique / store / salon within Disney. You have to make an appointment to go. You have to have a reservation. The prices are on the more expensive side, so yeah. There are 3 locations in Walt Disney World, one in Magic Kingdom, one in Disney Springs, and one at the Grand Floridian, which I just found out about. On a side note, only the Magic Kingdom location has reopened since the pandemic hit. So there's only one open right now. There are 3, but there's only one. And there are Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique locations on every Disney cruise ship. So we thought that this would be the best time for Emily to experience that. She's been asking us to try it, and we thought this would be the good time for her. So in the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, a child can go in and be treated like royalty. Hair done, makeup done, costumes, nails, pixie dust, the works. Depending on the package you buy, your child could be there for quite some time. Emily was probably only in there for probably about 45 minutes. With all the selections that they have there, it's a wonder that a child can even make a decision. You've got like costume for every princess, pretty much. And they have specialty ones that are exclusive to the Disney cruises. Captain Mickey and Captain Minnie. So Emily went back and forth. Should I be Jasmine? Should I be Ariel? And it was coming down really to Princess Jasmine and Captain Minnie. And in the end, she chose Captain Minnie because the only place you can get that is on a Disney cruise. And she was like, I don't know when I'm going to go on a Disney cruise again. You know, if it's not till I'm a teenager, I'm not going to want to do this. And I'm going to do Captain Minnie now. So I said to her, I was like, next time we go to just Disney World, besides this trip, I was like, maybe we can do Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique again and you can get Jasmine then. So she was so excited. And boy, did she rock that look. She had blue pants and a kind of like a dress, and then I've got pictures. I'll have to post them. And a coat, and she had Captain Minnie ears. So it's like the Minnie ears, but it's got a little captain's hat on it. It was so cute. She was saluted by so many people and characters. People saying, oh, hi, Captain, or good evening, Captain, stuff like that to her. It was so cool. She loved it. And it was such a great experience. She even wore that costume, the Captain Minnie costume, when we went to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party in Walt Disney World, which I will talk about in part 2 of this episode. So, yeah, to say that she loved it is an understatement. It was wonderful for her. And you could see all the other kids that were there absolutely loved it as well. So, besides those, Emily and I were also lucky enough to receive brand new Pandora necklaces from my husband. I have been a Pandora fan for a long time. I have a bracelet, haven't worn it in a long time. Bracelets tend to be too I want to say bracelets like those and like some other bracelets tend to be a bit clunky on my wrist. So I don't tend to wear them as much as I used to. So my husband did such an amazing thing and got Emily and I Pandora necklaces. And I absolutely love it. I still wear it all the time. And he picked out a couple of exclusive charms that are just Disney Wish charms. And it was such a surprise. And Emily and I were so taken aback by it. It was wonderful. So every time I look at them, I'm going to remember the amazing time that I had on the Disney Wish. So shopping and food aside, there's still so much going on the boat. Major entertainment everywhere. There are shows, out by the pool every day. Live shows, like with the characters and everything. There was fireworks one night. There are movies played every day. They also had Broadway caliber shows in the theaters every night. We got to see The Little Mermaid, a Little Mermaid show. It wasn't exactly like the Little Mermaid, if you know of the Broadway show. It wasn't that. But it was still the telling of The Little Mermaid, which was phenomenal. The actress who played Ursula, holy cow. She was outstanding. Like, the whole cast was amazing, but she really stood out for me. We also got to see Aladdin, and it was just Em and I. Will decided to miss out on that night. So the genie, the guy who played the genie, he was hilarious. He was throwing out, little quips and stuff like that. That was like pop culture happening right now. And while Emily didn't necessarily get them, I did. And I got a good chuckle out of it. And you could tell all the adults did at the same time. So it was really awesome. They also had a couple of movie theaters on the ship. So you could see they had different movies playing at different times. We never took the opportunity to go see the movies, but I think it was really cool that they were showing all those Disney movies while you're on the ship. So that was really cool. One of the lounges actually had some games that they were playing there. I forget the name of the game, but it was really fun, very interactive. We went actually twice and did it twice. So we never won, but we still had so much fun. So with all of those, let's move into another kind of entertainment, which is the pool. Of course, there's a pool, and there's 2 water slides as well. So when you think of a Disney swimming pool, you think of these big, grand pools that have all these decor, all the decorations, all the theming, all of that. On the Wish, there was not one big pool. There were several smaller pools that almost look like plunge pools, but not that small. Like, a bunch of people could get into them. But there wasn't one big pool, which was kind of cool. Was not what I was expecting, but it was kind of cool. The pool that we went in was the Donald Duck pool, of course. And it was perfect. It was the perfect depth for us and perfect for Emily. There were 2 water slides on the ship, Slidosaurus Rex and the Aqua Mouse. So Slidosaurus Rex is a Rex Toy Story themed slide. It's kind of near. They have a little splash area for like babies and toddlers that is Toy Story themed. So Slidosaurus Rex is right near there. And Emily went down that slide at least a dozen times. The line was never long. She could easily go up and down. I went on it a couple of times, but it definitely was not what I was expecting. Yeah, I never went clear down the tube. You get into a water slide, you sit down, it's one of those ones where you sit right on your butt and you expect to just kind of slide all the way down, right? There's water underneath you expect to just keep going. This was not like that. Maybe it was more like that for kids, but it was not like that for me. I kind of had to push myself a little bit at times. But as long as Emily liked it and as long as she had fun, that's all that mattered. Now, the Aqua Mouse. Oh boy, the Aqua Mouse. Yeah, it was, if you ask Emily to this day what her favorite part of the Disney cruise was, she will tell you it was the Aqua Mouse. It was just that fun. So it's a water slide, just like Slidosaurus Rex, except instead of sitting on your butt, you sit in a tube, or you sit in like an inner tube. Inner tube raft, whatever. You can ride by yourself. It's a 2-person tube, so you can either ride by yourself or ride with someone. And I rode with Emily every time that we went on. So you get into the tube and you go up a conveyor belt. Now, if you've ever been on a different Disney cruise ship, you know that they have other water slides called the Aqueduct, and that you walk upstairs and you slide down. This one, you get in your tube and then you go along a conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt takes you up. And while you're going up the conveyor belt to the top of the slide, you see you're in a bigger tube that has screens on it. And the screens are showing Mickey Mouse cartoons, and they all have to do with water. And every time there's like a splash or whatever in the water, it sends out like a spritz, we'll call it an aggressive spritz of water at you. And I was not prepared for that. So Emily did not warn me. Emily had gone on this with Will, and she did not prepare me for the fact that it was going to squirt. Like, I had to pay attention, and I was not paying attention. And the first time it squirted me right in the face. Like, I was not prepared. So at the very top of the conveyor belt, as you're about to go in the slide, it is a little dark, but don't be scared. Nothing bad happens. And soon you're whooshing down the slide. Some of the slide is completely see-through, so that's cool to be able to see out into the ship. A portion of it goes out over the side of the ship, over the ocean. And there are some parts that are open. I did hear of the Aquamouse having to close at certain points because it was windy. And with that being open, it wasn't a good idea. But it was so much fun. There are bumps and turns and, everything you would expect from a fantastic Disney water slide. It was so fun. Emily and I screamed and laughed, and we had the best time every time we went down the Aquamouse. It was so cool. It was definitely Emily's probably favorite part, but it was definitely one of my favorite parts too. So now that I think that I've covered so much of the ship, I mean, I'm sure there are things I forgot. I'm sure. Like I can say our room was fabulous. We had a great room. And I mean, if you've been on a cruise ship, you know that the rooms are kind of on the small side. But we had a great room, and our housekeeping was the best. She was just amazing. I would love to remember her name, but I can't at the moment. But she was phenomenal. So besides the things that are on the boat, we also had our 2 stops. One of our days was a day at sea, and that was the one on the way back. But we did have 2 stops that we made. And the first stop was in Nassau, which is, as you may know, part of the Bahamas. And we went to Atlantis for the day. There was so much to see and do there. We had to walk through the resort to get to the water park area, I guess, the pool water park area. So we walked through what were like ruins, and then there was a mini aquarium, and it was cool to see all the fish there. Being an aquatic loving family, it was great for us. Emily loves aquariums. She would go to an aquarium whenever she could. So that was really cool. And when you get to the water park, there's actually a water slide that takes you through. The tube goes through a tank filled with sharks. So Emily loved that. She and Will went down that a few times. So it was great. There are tons of water slides once you get to the water park area. Our favorite part was the Rapid River. It's like a lazy river, but way more fun. There are rapids to it, and it was just so fun. We absolutely loved it. I had my apprehensions about going on it because I didn't know what to expect. But it was fun. I had so much fun on it. We did it more than once, and I'm totally glad that we did. Things were very spaced out. So walking around, and there wasn't a whole lot of signage to how to get to some places. So it was kind of, it was tricky. If I had a recommendation to Atlantis, I would say put up more signs to where things are. It was, we never ate any of the food while we were there. We never bought food there. I don't even think we left the water park area. Like, we never really went swimming in the pool. We didn't check out the beach or anything like that. Emily and Will just wanted to ride water slides the whole time. So that's pretty much what we did. And so then we headed back. There were 2 times there you could head back. We headed back on the earlier time because we were getting hungry. So we decided we would head back and eat on the ship. And we got to see parts of Nassau from the boat from Atlantis, or the bus from Atlantis to where the ship was. So it was cool to see that, cool to see the different culture and the way that things are there. And I think it was a little bit of a culture shock for Emily to see the way that things were in Nassau versus the way that things are at home that she's used to. So that was pretty cool. I think if we ever did the Nassau Bahama trip, again, if we ever did this trip again, I don't know that I would go to Atlantis. I mean, if Emily and Will wanted to do it, great, but I don't know that I would. I think I'd probably take more advantage of what's on the ship itself and do that. I would probably, spend more time in the pool, maybe check out one of the movie theaters, relax there. Maybe. So a thing I didn't talk about on the Disney Wish is that they have several different kind of spa options. They have spas, they have things for gentlemen as well. So I'd probably check that out instead of getting off in Nassau again. Plus, like, so many people are getting off the ship, it would be nice to enjoy time on the ship where it's less crowded. So there you go. So the next day, we pulled in to the famous Castaway Cay. And when I booked our cruise, the woman that I spoke with said, oh, you got to do it here. You got to be on this side and, blah, blah, blah. Because once you pull into Castaway Cay, you are right there and you will have the view of Castaway Cay. So we did that. It was so beautiful. Oh, it was just so amazing. So we signed up for a package that included tubes to float in the ocean, snorkeling gear, and bicycle rentals. We also signed up to do paddle boat rentals and the aqua trike as well. The package is totally worth it if you're going to use all the stuff. We did not do snorkeling because Emily's isn't that strong of a swimmer yet that I think she'd be able to handle the snorkel. So we didn't end up doing that. We had planned to go on a bike ride, but it never happened. So we were feeling the effects of the sun and feeling tired, so we headed back to the ship instead of doing that. Will had also booked an excursion to go fishing, of course. For those who don't know, my husband is an avid fisherman, like I said before. Any chance he gets to fish, he takes it. So while in the Caribbean, he had to fish. So while he was fishing, Emily and I took our time and headed out to Castaway Cay. Emily got pictures taken with Goofy and Pluto and Minnie. And we found a few beach chairs underneath a tree. It was a perfect spot. We got our tubes, had some fun in the ocean, and then we walked around Castaway Cay, taking in all the sights, seeing where things were. We saw this big area that they had that had some water slides and other fun things. It was out in the ocean, so Emily was apprehensive about it. The water slides dropped you right into the ocean. Obviously, it was, there were ropes, it was roped off and stuff like that. We didn't have to worry about, like big fish or whatever. But because she couldn't stand, that made her a little bit nervous. So we ended up not trying any of that, but we got to see where it was. So that was cool. And once Will was done fishing, he met up with us and we grabbed some lunch. And there are 2 spots on the island. And besides a couple of places that had specialty drinks that you had to pay for, all of the food and beverages on Castaway Cay are included. How cool is that? We grabbed lunch and it was barbecue. We love barbecue. It was absolutely delicious. Emily was entertained during our meal by a couple of lizards that were on the island that were hanging out near our table, and she tried to give them a little bit of food, but they weren't interested in that. But she loved looking at them and seeing what they were doing. After lunch, we did the paddle boat and the aqua trike. And we loved the paddle boat. It was a great chance to get out into the ocean a little bit and see in the water and see the fish that were there and to take a look at the pelicans that we saw. And Will was in his element, pointing out the fish to us, of course. We were looking at birds, so many different things to see. And it was so great to see, being from Rhode Island, where obviously, we've got ocean aplenty, to see the Caribbean Ocean, to see that was something to see. So that was really cool for us. I don't know that Emily had ever seen ocean water that clear. So that was really cool. So after we did the paddle boat, we got on the aqua trike, and it only seats 2 people. So I went out with Emily once and then Will went out with Emily. And for me, the aqua trike was really hard to maneuver. It's big. You got to have a lot of leg strength to be able to do it, and I was just not a fan. So Emily was out with me for 5 minutes, and then she went out with Will for a little bit longer than that. So once we had enough for the day, we headed back to the ship. Getting on and off the ship was pretty easy in Castaway Cay. Yeah, there was security stuff and all of that, but it was pretty easy. If you had to ask what my absolute favorite part of the Disney cruise was, Castaway Cay is probably my favorite part of the whole cruise. I really loved it. I thought it was beautiful, and there was something for everybody there. So I thought it was really great. So one thing that I know I haven't touched base upon yet is motion sickness. Now, some people get seasick or motion sick, and I am one of those people. So I was really worried about that before. And we being, a family that loves the water, my husband having a boat, he has a few relief bands, and they're bands that are meant to help you with motion sickness and seasickness and that kind of stuff. So we made sure to bring those. And we had them ready in case we needed them. And I'm pleased to say I never needed one. I know Will felt the effects a little bit, being inside a lot while the boat's moving, and we could feel it the first night. The first night was probably the only night we could actually really feel the boat moving. I know the other nights, like when we took off from Nassau or we took off from Castaway Cay, like I had no idea that the boat had even left dock yet. Like I had no idea. But Will was like, look, we're moving. I'm like, we are? But the very first night we did feel it, and we had to get from Port Canaveral all the way down to Nassau in one night. So the boat did kind of have to go. So he did that. I actually found the motion of the boat kind of soothing. So go figure. So if you do get prone to motion sickness or seasickness, I would recommend bringing something just in case you need it, but kind of go with it and don't try and get overwhelmed by what you could possibly feel. I didn't end up needing something, so hopefully you won't either. So I'm going to wrap up this podcast. I'm looking at the time and it's already over an hour. I could go on and on about the Disney cruise, about the Disney Wish. But so wrapping it up, I'm going to talk about some of the amazing characters we saw. We saw Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, Goofy, Pluto, Chip, Dale, and princesses. During the Halloween festivities, Emily was able to actually meet Clarabelle Cow, too. She was so excited about meeting Clarabelle. She's never met her before, so she was pumped. And when she met her, she got to meet Clarabelle, Minnie, and Daisy together, and they were all dressed as the Sanderson sisters. How cool is that? So it was so much fun, and Emily loved it. She absolutely loved it, and she was so excited about it. Now, beforehand, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought beforehand that all of the princesses were on the cruise. I should have done my research, but I didn't. So I expected there to be a ton of princesses kind of just around, but there wasn't. There was 4. So Emily was able to see Rapunzel, Tiana, Cinderella, and Moana, which was really cool. I think she was the most excited to see Moana because we had only met her once before during one of the parties that they had in Walt Disney World. I think it was the Christmas party. So it was very cool for her to see Moana again. So that's it. One of the other things is that, with all the characters, they do have people that are taking pictures, kind of like how they take pictures in Walt Disney World with PhotoPass and everything like that. But you have to buy a package for the pictures, kind of like getting Memory Maker. It's not like that. There is a package where you can get all of your pictures, but it is more additional money. We ended up not doing that. I had planned on upgrading and doing that, but I never got around to it. And once you're off the ship, all of those are gone. So I definitely recommend doing that before you go. So, like I said, I could go on and on about the Wish. I could go on and on about how much of an amazing time we had. But I won't, because this episode would go on and on and on. So I will leave this off by saying that I loved my very first Disney cruise, and it was so cool being part of the inaugural sailings for the Wish. And the time we had there was like no other. I would definitely do a Disney cruise again. I would do one in a heartbeat, for sure. So yeah. So that's it for this episode of the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast. On the next episode, part 2 of the land and sea trip, I'm going to talk about the land part of the trip. We talked about the sea this time. We're going to talk about land next time. And I'll tell you about all the fun stuff that we did there and all of the great things that we did. That episode will probably not be as long as this one. So you don't have to worry about that. Because we're such, Disney travelers to Walt Disney World. It won't be quite as long, but we'll talk about some great stuff. So thank you for listening to this episode. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I love being able to bring my love of Disney to all of you. So the fact that you take your time out of your day to listen to me talk about Disney is wonderful. So I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. So talked about at the beginning of the episode, all my social media, go follow me there. Follow me on the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast, Instagram, Facebook, and follow along with me on the Disney Roadie Mom Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well. And if you have any comments, feel free to leave a review. So review, subscribe, do all of the stuff. And you can feel free to leave me a comment on the podcast. Feel free to get me a review too. I love seeing all of that stuff. If there's something you want to talk about, you think, hey, Kristen, talk about this on the podcast. Or, hey, could you shout out, this person or whatever? Feel free to send me a message. You can email me at dlhwpodcast@gmail.com, or on any of my social media, feel free to just send me a DM. I will gladly respond. I look forward to getting all of those kinds of stuff. So thank you all so much again for taking the time to listen to the podcast. It means so much to me. So thank you again. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you very soon for the next one. Have a magical rest of your week, everybody, and I will see you real soon.
Now I and a ghost will follow you home.
Hurry back, hurry back.